Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the March 8th meeting, 2021 of the Ware Board of Selectmen. I call this meeting to order with a roll call. Vice Chairman Hippler.
Present.
Sherry Burdick.
Present.
John Van. And John Osborne.
Present.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is public comment, and we've already decided that Dave Richards can go first. So Dave, you've got the floor.
Hi there. Hi there. Thanks a lot for giving me a few minutes. I think I need to clear up a couple of things here. For one, there's a mailer that went out that says it's to keep Mount Dearborn Road scenic. Well, there's already an ordinance the selectmen have put in. It's a scenic road, has been right along. Rural, I mean, keep it rural. Well, of course it's going to stay rural. You're not going to have any commercial or anything. I mean, the only thing that's going to change that, like I said in my original planning board meeting, when I presented this to you guys, is I'm just waiting for the Conservation Commission, conservation people to actually come up with some money. And mine's going to go into conservation. There's two other parcels on that road that could be developed. And it's one across from my sugar house and the other one is Neil Kirk's in the future. So, and that isn't going to, so in the historic overlay, dissolving this isn't going to change that anyway. It has nothing to do with a development. I mean, you got to have 600 feet off the road. Beyond that, we can, you know, you can put as many houses you want on. So it's a little misleading and it's a little, I mean, you should be ashamed. Other than that, I don't have a lot to say, but the signs, I've had signs out. Some of you have probably seen them. Vote yes on Article 8. I had a bunch of them stolen last night. I had one destroyed yesterday. So we're looking forward to finding out who that is, because that's $1,000 fine each. And, you know, I appreciate if anybody sees them in somebody's back with a pickup or whatever, give me a buzz. Actually, you probably ought to call the cops. You probably shouldn't call me. And that's about it. I mean, there's a couple of things that needed to get cleared up here, and I appreciate your time. And I look forward to seeing the results tomorrow night. I really appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you, David.
Thank you, Dave.
No, thank you guys. You guys do a heck of a job.
Okay, who else do we have for public comment?
I just want to clarify, Jack, that was all regarding Article 8 on the warrant, that's all.
Right.
Thank you, Ricky. I know there was a request from Gail. Sorry. Lost my mind here. I can't find her. Shelley. Shelley's on as well. She asked for a couple minutes. Shelley Duquette, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Okay.
Shelley, the floor is yours.
Okay. I just wanted to call in about Article 4. I know that a mailer went out about Article 4 with pictures of my garage, which I'm a bit concerned about because I don't know why my neighbor had to post pictures of our property for everybody in the town to see. I know, yeah, with it half done. He posted a picture from it from over a year ago, so it wasn't complete at that point in time. And he joined Facebook just to go through and tell people that with a vote of yes on Article 4, that people can put pigsties 15 feet from their neighbors' houses. And that's how we went about addressing everything, along with saying that there was a backdoor deal. And I just wanted to clarify that there was no backdoor deal. We had a permit 3 years ago when this was started. And so that was my point for discussion. I don't know if I say more or if there are questions about it.
Okay, thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
You
Who else do we
also,
have?
yeah, you had Dawn and Lynn Carrera had asked. Are they on?
Yes.
Yeah, I see them. Dawn, Lynn, the floor is yours.
Okay.
Yes, we actually live directly across the street from Shelley and Gil. And Mr. Cochran has decided that Shelley and Gil and Jack have been like friends for a long period of time. There was no friendship before this. We were neighbors. They would say hello to one another walking past each other's houses with the dogs. But as far as them being great friends and him accusing of this backdoor deal going on, we have found to be pretty disgusting. If you want to go to the people about an article, go to it about the facts about the article and not trying to defame people, trying to create chaos. As far as his claims of the mud ruts in the road because of the building, the mud ruts have been in the road every year since they moved there. Mr. Cochran has constant deliveries going in and out all day long. We've watched him in the spring, always fixing his road. As far as Jack Meany being in a butter, he's not in a butter. We're in a butter. He's not. And this has just been a constant mess with a lot of lies that weren't true. One of which being that Gil and Shelley continued to work on the building when there was a cease and desist, and they did not for almost over a year. So our reason to come on is to let people know that they followed what they were supposed to. They got the building permit. They stopped when they were asked to. And Mr. Cochran has been kind of deceitful in some of his approaches when he goes to people to get his petition signed to stop and change this article. And that's pretty much all I have to say to you.
So just to add to that, you know, I have a serious problem when people move into this state and then they decide that they're going to start telling other people what to do with their property. You know, while they, Gil and Shelley have an irregular lot, they want to build a garage. So let them build a garage, right? Somebody else wants to build a garage, build a garage. They want to do something else, let them do with it, right? We don't need so many rules and regulations that we stop people from doing what they want with their property. It's ridiculous.
Okay, thank you, Don and Lynn. Anybody else? Naomi?
Frank, you're unmuted. Frank, did you have a comment?
I do not, thank you.
Bruce Fillmore is on. Do you have a comment?
You gotta unmute yourself, Bruce.
Yeah, that better?
Yeah.
Yeah,
did
there
you
you
have a
go.
comment?
Regarding Article 4, as you all know, I'm on the planning board. Jack's on the planning board with us. I brought this up to the planning board without any discussion with Jack whatsoever. I brought up a couple things. This was one of them, and it was based on zoning applications and decisions that have been made in the past couple of years. And that was it. There was no collusion, there was no backdoor deal, there was no anything. It was just an innocent suggestion on my part that maybe we ought to look at that as a zoning amendment. And the rest of the planning board agreed with me. When we decided it, it was a unanimous vote. There was nobody that was opposed to it. At a subsequent meeting, it was brought up that one member didn't understand the ramifications of it, so he wanted to try and revisit it. And I brought up the point that what he was trying to revisit it for, we all knew about, because Mr. Cochran had come to the planning board when the prior building inspector made the decision and issued him a permit, what, 2 years ago, maybe? And we were all there. So everybody knew about that instance when we voted to recommend this zoning amendment. There was nothing funny going on. And that's it.
Thank you, Bruce. Who else do we have?
Steve Roberts, did you want to say anything during public comment, or are you just listening?
I'm just listening for now.
Okay, thank you. I know Megan is on, and so is Nicole. They're both Finance Committee members, but Tom Downing on as chair is going to speak under the department head and committee items. So I
Okay.
don't know if either one of the girls have anything to add, or if you're going to defer to Tom.
Defer to Tom. Thank you. This is Nicole.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment?
I think I've got,
Okay,
no, I
There's
think
none other?
that's it.
then we'll move to department head and committee items. Then I guess,
Chief Moore is also on, if he has a
Yep.
department head item.
I have nothing.
Thank you.
okay, chief. Then I guess it's,
Actually, while he's on though, back up 1 second. He sent an email. Chris, are you still there?
Yes.
So Chief Moore and Director Knapp, sorry to do this, went out to Thorndike and Shady Hill. I sent you guys all the email in regards to the removal of the northbound stop sign, as it serves no purpose for traffic control, and they've recommended it for removal. It was discussed in a previous meeting, but no motion was made. So before we go and take the stop sign down, the comfort level was to have the board make a motion to do that, if that's what you so choose, and then they will take it from there.
So moved.
seconded. All those in favor, roll call, Vice Chairman Hippolyte,
Yes.
John Osborne,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
and John Van,
Yeah.
and yes for me.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll pass it on to Benji.
okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Under the rest of the department head items, I guess it's,
Tom Downing is on for the Finance Committee.
throw Tom Downing into the fire.
Thank you, everybody. So there was some social media posts and including voter recommendations from an well, we'll just call it a competing committee or something of that sort. And I, who don't like to get too much into the mix of social media, did realize that it was appropriate for us to make a formal statement, just in case there was confusion amongst the taxpayers. And so I'm going to just read the statement to hopefully clear things up or educate folks that might not be in the know. And so I'll start with, my comments represent the opinions of the vast majority of the Finance Committee, and that's in an effort to increase transparency for all taxpayers. We appreciate the cooperation of the selectmen, the town, and school departments in their efforts of transparency, especially with the challenges of a national pandemic. We believe this Finance Committee season has delivered a much more organized and transparent process as compared to previous years. With that said, there are certain members of the community which are a very small minority that feel they know better and are spreading misleading information. In particular, a member of our committee for the second year in a row has chosen to either sponsor or by association this year as a director of a conflicting organization, publish data to square the Ware voters against the recommendations of the Ware Finance Committee. Our committee is made up of a diverse group of citizens with differing opinions. But if a Ware Finance Committee member doesn't believe in the process, they should step down, because it becomes very obvious that personal agenda is the only thing driving participation. We need members who are capable and willing to, in good faith, consider the better good of the community as a whole. I urge all taxpayers of the town to not only plan on voting tomorrow, but to vote based on all of the available information. The legitimate voter guides are the article mailers that have been supported by countless man hours of the Ware elected and appointed officials. Plus all of the relative budget meetings, they're rebroadcast on Channel 6, Comcast Channel 6, and also on YouTube, Ware Channel 6. We believe the minority should be heard, and that's why our committees are diverse and have deliberative sessions. but misleading flyers and social media posts are an attempt to delegitimize the process and unethically sway voters. The public should be asking, where is the transparency of the coalition meetings that deliberated their voter recommendations? I think the taxpayer may have the right to know. And I noted in what I posted today, RSA 91-A, Section 1. And I thank the selectmen for letting me read that.
Any other department head or committee items? Okay. Thank you, Tom, for that. Then I guess we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and it's the virtual question and answer before the town vote. Formerly was the call-in, but we're now remote. It'll be the virtual. So do we have anybody on the line?
This is the opportunity where we used to call in, or when we didn't call in and we're waiting for callers. If you'll remember, we kind of went over a few things, kind of pointed out things last minute. If anybody wants to have anything maybe brought to the attention, and if you felt there was possibly something in the mailer that may lead to confusion, this is the opportunity to talk about it. I didn't get any advance questions, which sometimes we do. So I'm not sure. We do have others on. And I'll just, if you don't mind, Frank, did you have a question or two? Or you're on, your microphone is ready to go.
Yeah, no, thanks for reminding me that so I can learn. No, I'm all set so far. Thank you.
Okay, Steve Roberts, did you have anything you wanted to add or say regarding any of the articles?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just wanted to speak for Article 11, which is the two full-time firefighter EMTs. And I just want to express my support for that. That's a plan that was presented 3 years. This would be the third year of that plan to get coverage in the station. And I just feel that that's really important. Not only myself, but we laid out that plan very specifically to the Finance Committee, the Selectmen. The voters overwhelmingly supported that for the first 2 years. This will be the third year of that. We've taken in the past, when I was on the board of wardens, we always looked at the votes from town meeting and used those as our marching orders, because we can all have our own opinions and feelings, but ultimately, when you look at the vote, that's hard evidence of the heart of the voters and what they want for services and what they're willing to spend to get those services. And so I believe that this is a good step towards that goal, to provide an adequate service to the taxpayers on our fire and EMS department. And so I just wanted to say that.
Thanks, Steve.
Jack, Eileen Meany has a question.
Okay, and she has the floor.
Thank you. I have a question about, there was a mailer that was sent from, some information on Facebook from a committee that I'm not familiar with, or a coalition that I'm not familiar with, that stated that if I followed their recommendations, I would save $100 a year on my taxes. And I was hoping that either the Board of Selectmen or our finance administrator or our town administrator can maybe speak to that claim and potentially point out if there are any unintended consequences of following that sort of reasoning. So what would actually be the savings? What are some unintended costs if I follow those recommendations? And could somebody speak to that in a bit more detail, because it's unclear to me? Thank you.
Beth, are you there?
I'll give it a whirl if you want.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking, trying to think what they're thinking, is if you look at the paraphernalia that was sent or shared, I'm thinking that the savings, if you look at it, would be the additional no's. So what I mean by that is the selectmen and the finance committee both have recommended the non-union raises. And this group is telling you not to, which if you look at that, that adds up to, oh, hang on, I gotta flip through too many things and my desk's only so big. So there's 7 cents there. So my thought is if you go down through and they're not recommending the article that Steve Roberts just spoke about, which both places recommended, again, Parks and Rec raises for 5,000, the full-time building inspector, the government building capital reserve. So that's where, you know, Frank and I've had this discussion several times. There is no, you know, there's no savings. Traditionally, there's no savings. You know, we do the best we have with what we have. Proposed budget, you know, that was a split. We said yes, the finance committee said no, but it was close. So then they're saying no. The highway truck was split. You know, so I'm thinking there's a thought behind that, that if you followed theirs with the extra no's versus the chart that the finance committee has put together, because that's really the difference. That's the only thing I could think of. You know, but I have to just say, if you follow that information, you know, the non-union raises, which is supported by the finance committee, 70% of that money is for first responders. I'm not going to go any further into the full-time firefighters, but I will just look at the comment to tell you about the non-union raises from the group was that 3 of the high-paid town employees were getting over $6,800 together. Not sure. I'm trying to figure out how the math was done. That's certainly not what I got when I take the 3 highest. So I'm not sure where they got their information. You know, the 2 full-time firefighters, I will just mention in the comment that was added to them, that was, you know, there's 400 plus folks in town that have lost their jobs. I understand that, you know, some people have lost their jobs, but I'd like to know where that information came from, because that did surface in one of the finance committee members' meetings, and it was based on some, you know, statewide, worldwide thing divided by state, divided by population, or however. I'd really like to see where that number came from before you throw that out there. Parks and Rec. I mean, you people all know in this town that Dunkin' Donuts closes at 6 because they can't get help. Subway struggling to stay open beyond 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and some weekends because they cannot get help. So there's work out there, and to have these kids have a chance to get a job at the park, you know, for a couple dollars more an hour, or else we won't be able to keep the park open. I hate to say it, and I don't mean anything by that, but if we can't staff it and staff it adequately, I don't know where it would go. Part-time, full-time building inspector. You know, when we revisited last year when Chip was gone, we kind of focused on bringing back a, you know, bringing back the full-time land use coordinator, because zoning and planning was really taking off, and so we made that gamble as a group, figuring we'd go part-time. But now the building world is taken off as well as zoning and planning, because A, interest rates are down. So I just think without making him full-time, I don't know what we could run into, meaning there's only so many hours from a phone call and people will continue to build without any inspections. The plow truck, I'm just gonna share the plow truck, which I probably shouldn't, but the plow truck, was voted down by them as well. The plow truck, we spent like $87,000 on repairs in total for all the equipment. But taking a step back, and I guess I'll keep my comment. That's not a town comment. Government Building Capital Reserve Fund. You all own homes. I own a home, and all of a sudden something happens. We have to take care of all of the buildings with that money, and the buildings aren't new, other than maybe the DPW garage and then the safety complex. So I just, there's so many things that, I just hope people will do their homework, as Tom has shared in the Finance Committee statement, that there's a lot of shiny information that shows up in your mailbox, and it really sounds like it's a great deal, but I can only hope that people will do their homework and vet out what's true and what's not. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to vote, but that's really, I guess, where I am. I don't know that it answers the question because I have not taken the time to add up all those pennies times a $250,000 home. That's where I'm thinking it is, but I'm not sure.
So Naomi, just so to clarify for me based on my question. So you're not sure if their number is accurate, and also you're not sure if it's well representing the unintended costs related to extra repairs, maintenance, so on and so forth, that could potentially be incurred by the town by not making these changes. And so, you can say, yes, it might save you this, but in the long run, it may cost you more because of what happens with our equipment and our personnel, replacement, retraining, rehiring, all of those things. So unintended costs can't be captured by that sort of a flyer.
That's my opinion. Some of the board members may have others.
Thank you.
I would agree with the fact that it's short-sighted, not long-sighted. We've been through it with vehicles, just for instance, like the dump truck. Or we're going through with an article also for a police cruiser. If we keep kicking the can down the road, we're going to pay more in maintenance than it would be if we went out and got a new vehicle. We need the equipment to maintain the infrastructure of the town, just like you would for the building, as Naomi said, for the buildings. With the fire department, if you don't want to hire those 2 extra full-time EMT firefighters, you're going to suffer services and still try to find volunteers, or I should say call people to come in and cover those shifts or pay overtime. Your overtime costs also increase. So I think that's not being long-sighted, and it's also going to have town services that everybody enjoys suffer at some point. That's the way I read it. Anybody else for questions and answers?
Tom Downing, if I may.
Sure, Tom.
Yeah, and I'm speaking for myself. In regards to Article 11, full-time, and I'm looking at this mailer that went out from this alleged coalition. It says, if you look at the simplified view with the fancy colors, it talks about full-time firefighters. And I can tell you that on Super Bowl Sunday, I was in a bad snowmobile crash and someone close to me got very seriously hurt. And this is the reason why it's important, and I'm going to talk to it and I want to ask a question, is that we were in a town not far from here that had per diem firefighters on Super Bowl Sunday. And I had to drive my brother-in-law to the hospital over an hour away in the middle of a snowstorm because there's no per diem officers, EMTs. So what I'd like to understand, and maybe for the rest of the folks listening and watching this, can you just elaborate on, well, just confirm we're talking about full firefighter EMTs, and what does that mean? Because if you look at the simple view here, it looks like people saying no to full-time firefighters. And I think sometimes, especially folks from the city, like I am from Boston, you think of the firefighters that sit on their butt or polish the machines and don't do anything. And I am certain that ours do way more than that. So I was wondering if someone could speak to that.
Naomi?
Chief Vazina just got on, so I would actually like to maybe ask him to address that. Chief
Chief?
Vazina?
I don't see him on the board.
Yeah,
I actually see
there.
him.
yeah, there he is.
There he is. Okay, Chief.
So the question is what is it as far as what skill set the people would have, Tom?
Right. Is it more than just a firefighter, which is what it's portrayed in
Yeah,
the
it's more than just a firefighter position, and it's more than just an EMT position. So we go out and we look at what we have is like dual role employees. So we're hiring paramedics and we're hiring advanced EMTs, and we're requiring them to be firefighters as well, so that regardless of what type of emergency you have in the community, they're able to respond to and take appropriate action. The vast majority of our calls are medical in nature, whether it's a car accident to a cardiac arrest. And we seek out and qualified people, and we train them, and so that they're able to respond to, you know, the highest recurrence of incidents that we have, right? So we're very good at doing cardiac related calls, motor vehicle accidents, and they're all, you know, structural firefighters as well. So you're getting the biggest bang for your buck.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Any other questions? Nobody else out there, Naomi, that I can see?
Hang on. Benji's just getting into us. I don't know if he has any questions or if anybody has any questions of him in regards to, where is he? Benji, you out there? There he is.
Yes.
So,
I'm here.
all right, hang on one second. Nicole, you have a question. Nicole Herbst has a question.
Yes, question about that flyer also from the coalition. They quote 1.3% standard of living. The only number I know that refers to is for Social Security. That's not like any other cost of living adjustment that's out there anywhere. So I just wanted to, I guess, ask, does anyone know where that number is coming from other than Social Security? Thank you.
I know, so at town meeting, it was mentioned, that's where I had also heard the 1.3 was a social security number. Mr. Campana raised that same question at town meeting, and that's the answer, was that. I don't know what the cost of living is, but the 1.3 I recall being stated at town meeting was the social security.
Thank you.
Okay, Benji, you're there. Where'd you go?
Yeah.
You have any comments, questions?
Last minute chance.
No, I hope that everyone goes out and votes for what they feel is most important to them. I really hope that everyone supports the continued updating of the plow equipment. You know, we were asked as department heads when I started to come up with a long-term plan, and from day one, my plan was to update a plow truck every year. And it seems that this year was chosen to be put on pause, which would just mean I need 2 next year. And I don't see how that's financially responsible. And, you know, as far as retaining employees, I really hope that the raises are supported. That's probably my most important article on the ballot, is to make sure that all the non-union employees with the union, but they've already got theirs last year, so they're locked in. So all the non-union employees get, get a pay increase. It's always, this is a thankless job, no matter what branch of government you're in, and to get a little bit increase in your paycheck, I think, is how we feel that we're thanked. So I guess that's all I got.
So Eileen Meany has another question.
I
Okay.
just have I'm sorry, I didn't get the yes. May I speak, Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
So the flyer for two different articles, Article 4 and I believe Article 8, it was two sides of the same flyer. And from what I understand, these are two different issues. Is that correct?
Correct.
So is it related to the same person, or is it related to two different situations? This flyer that came for two different articles, are they related, these two articles?
No.
Article 4 is for changing to the zoning amendments for setbacks. And Article 8 is a petition brought forth from a citizen, from Dave and Kathy Richards, for changing the historic district overlay for Mount Dearborn Road.
So is there any real clear explanation why there would be one flyer sent related to these two distinctly different articles?
I haven't seen one. I've seen two flyers, not one.
They're two separate flyers. That's
Yes.
all I've seen.
That's all. It's two separate flyers. Article 4 has the picture of Duquette's garage under construction. That has to do with the setbacks, changing the zoning ordinance. And the other one was
Dark green.
dark green, and it had a talking about the historic overlay.
Right, and they were put out by separate parties.
Two separate parties.
May I say
Yeah.
something?
Sure, go ahead, Kathy.
It's Kate, thank you.
Kate, I'm sorry, Kate.
No, you're fine. I feel like it's okay to say I think there's a very common denominator between these two flyers. If that answers that question at all for you, Eileen.
I appreciate that, because yeah, okay, thank you.
I think there's a common denominator in the backing of these two. Well, I know this one I can say for sure. I know for a fact because I know who these people are that signed this one. There are two people that signed this little flyer that live in the same house on Mount Dearborn Road. And the rest of the people that signed this live in Riverdale. And the person who lives on Mount Dearborn Road helped them write an amendment to an overlay in Riverdale.
Oh,
So
okay.
does that give you any guidance?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Hey, anytime.
Okay, thanks, Kate. Does that answer your question, Eileen?
Yes, Mr. Meany, it does.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have a comment. This is Don.
Go ahead, Don.
So in regard to what Benji said, that it's a thankless job. Benji, I just wanted to personally thank you for the great work you've been doing. Really appreciate it. The roads have been great. All the plowing been great. So you may think it's thankless, but I'll tell you, it's greatly appreciated. And I just wanted to personally tell you.
Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that.
And I support those raises because you guys deserve them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Mhm.
Any other comments or questions? Oh, we have another question from Dave and Kate Richards.
Nope, she just said she
Oh,
seconded
She
that.
seconds that. Okay, I didn't see all of it. It cut off.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If there are none, then we guess we can move on to the next item on the agenda, which I am
Thank
going
you,
to bring.
guys.
I'm going to bring up email we got, and it has to do somewhat what we've been talking about, and it's a new policy for use of the town seal. Has the rest of the board members seen that?
Yes.
Ricky,
Yeah, I saw it.
John Van,
Yep, I have it in front of me.
and John Osborne.
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay. I'd like to, wondering if we should read this into the record or whether or not we'll take it as we've seen it on the letter and vote on it from there.
I think we ought to read it in the record.
Okay, I will do that then. Town seal policy, RSA 31:93 indicates that every town shall provide for the use of its town clerk and official seal bearing the name of the town and the date it was incorporated, and such a general design as may be approved by the selectmen thereof. Papers issued from the office of the town clerk may be attested herewith. The town of Ware has produced a seal which graphically represents the municipality and is inclusive of the name of the town of Ware and the information that Ware was incorporated in 1764. As part of the statutory responsibility, the town has an embossing seal which is used on certain official documents. This embossing seal is in the possession of the town clerk as required by RSA 31:93. Beyond this embossing seal, the Board of Selectmen has authorized the town seal to be used for a number of official municipal purposes. These include, but may not be limited to, letterhead and envelopes for various town officials, boards, and commissions, business cards for various town officials, checks issued by the town of Ware, publication of annual report of the town of Ware, publication of various ordinance and regulations of the town of Ware, within the department, logos of the Ware Fire Department, the Ware Police Department, and the Ware Public Works Department, and seals appearing on vehicles owned by the town of Ware, such as fire trucks, ambulances, police cruisers, and public works vehicles. As an identifier on official town of Ware websites, street signs, and other official information signs posted by the town, used for the town of Ware and Ware School District elections, identifying clothing that is worn by the town of Ware officials or personnel. The seal of the town of Ware is intended to be used, be used for official business of the town of Ware, officials, departments, boards, and commissions. Design, arrangement, presentation, and layout of the seal is the property of the town of Ware, New Hampshire, and be used only for official use by the town of Ware as outlined in this policy. No other use of the town seal is permitted without prior permission from the Board of Selectmen. The town reserves the right to take the appropriate legal action to remedy any unauthorized use of the town seal, including but not limited to seeking injunctive relief, costs, and attorney's fees in the Superior Court. Adopted and approved by the Board of Selectmen the 8th day of March, 2021. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved to adopt that.
I'll second it. All those in favor by roll call? Vice Chairman Hippler.
You're gonna abstain.
Okay. Selectman Osborne,
Yes.
Selectman Burdick,
Yes.
Selectman Van.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you cut yourself off, John.
Yes, I am before.
And myself, yes. So it's so dumb. Okay, next item on the list be the town manifest. This is to order the treasurer to sign payroll and accounts payable checks dated March 11th, 2021, as included in the following manifests. Payroll manifest for $63,456.54. That's the weekly payroll. Accounts payable manifest for $103,392.09. The Ware School District manifest for $300,000. And the John Stark Regional manifest for $250,000 for a total of $716,848.63. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, all those in favor? Vice Chairman Hipler,
Yes.
Sherry Burdick,
yes.
John Osborne,
Yes.
and John Van.
Yes.
And yes for myself. Okay, the next item is the minutes from 3/1. Anything on page 1? Anything on page 2? Page 3. Nope. I lost it after page 3. Rick, do you have them from there? I dropped off after page 3.
That's all there is.
There is? Okay. That's, I wasn't sure because all of a sudden I lost my screen.
It makes life easy.
Yeah.
Motion, we accept the minutes of March 1st as written.
I'll second it then. All those in favor? Vice Chairman Hipler?
Yes.
Okay. Sherry Burdick,
Yes.
John Van?
Yeah.
And John Osborne?
Yes.
And myself. Okay, the next item would be the administrator's report.
Well, the only thing I was gonna do was, you already stole it, so, was the town seal policy. I don't have a report. I have to report that the gym is all ready and set up and ready for tomorrow. And we're ready to go in the morning. That's all I have to report.
Naomi, have you had any contact with the roofing company for the stone building?
Yeah, I got the same response I got before. Jack Meany was there, Chairman Meany was there when I set the agenda, and he sat there Friday morning and we placed a call. We spoke to the gentleman. He assured me that I would have a phone call this morning. And here we are again. That's all I get is, I don't want to say lip service, but that's about what it's feeling like.
Yeah.
So I did, while ESP was there, they were up in the attic and they did assure me there was nothing wet up there. So the cap issue, obviously is not a water or it must appear to be decorative. Obviously the ceiling and everything was dry upstairs, so. But Jack was there, watched me call, listened to the call, and I was assured a phone call back and there was none.
Okay.
I say we start looking for somebody else at this point. I think we've been blown off enough times, to put it blunt, that we've been blown off enough times that we need to find somebody else to do our business with.
I agree with
Yep.
you, Ricky.
I agree. I think we'll have to put out whatever we need for an RFP or for some of that work done and maybe find somebody that can meet our needs.
I do know the only other person in New Hampshire, they were in New Hampshire at the time, but the only other person in New Hampshire, or not person, but company, I think is Melanson's over in Keene that does copper.
Well,
Just-
as far as
I mean,
fixing
put
the
it-
decorative, as far as fixing the copper cap, that's a decorative cap. I would say, yes, that needs to be repaired, but I think we're talking about having them come, and they still haven't got back to us to see if that quote's any good to do the repairs on the
on the town.
town hall. That's more
Yeah.
what we're looking at, to get quotes from them and get that updated so we can get that underway.
Yeah.
So, okay, I would say that we have to put something out then, Naomi, and
Okay, I'll do that
start
after
looking for
tomorrow, maybe.
someone new.
Well, tomorrow is, I'll be at the polls all day with you guys.
Yeah,
so I
we
can't do it
understand
until
that.
today. Yeah.
So at your next earliest convenience. So, okay, the next item would be correspondence or other business.
I've got something.
Oh, go ahead.
Obviously, voting day is tomorrow, so pending the outcome of the election, I'm very hopeful. But again, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve with you guys for the last 6 years. I hope I get another 3 years in, but again, thank you for everything you've done for me.
Thank you, Rick. Any other thing under correspondence or other business?
The only thing I might add to that is that, due to that being a large group of people, probably between running for school board and stuff, that I'm not going to be standing over there tomorrow for that reason, because I've been told by my doctor not to be in groups of people. So I won't be there for to greet people as they come in, but it's the way it is.
It's a time, show of the times.
Yeah.
Well,
Jack, can we just go over what the schedule's gonna be for tomorrow? I know
yeah, I was just gonna say that. I
Yeah,
will be there at 6:30 in the morning till probably sometime in the early afternoon, and like 2 o'clock. I don't know who was swinging. I believe you said, John, you'd be there around 2:30.
I'm hoping for like 1:30, 2 o'clock. I can make it there and I can stick around to the end. I just need a quick break to come home and take care of a couple of things for a little.
Yeah, that's fine. I can come back. So, I was planning to be back in the evening when it closes anyhow. John Osborne.
Well, I plan on coming in around 12:30 or so and staying for the 3 or 4 hours.
Okay. Well, I guess that covers it because the other two are out of the mix.
Right.
Seeing as they're running for election.
Lucky us.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll get you next year.
Yeah, that's it.
Kind of disappointed we're not getting a blizzard for Ricky.
Yeah, I know.
You bite your tongue. I stood out there 2 blizzards in a row.
Yeah.
So I just,
So-
Jack, I didn't know Eileen is still on. I didn't know if Eileen wanted to have something before tomorrow to say before elections.
Eileen, are you there, town moderator?
Well, she shows that she's still on.
Yeah. I don't know where she's at, so. Okay, well, I guess the only thing to do is wish Ricky and Sherry a lot of luck for tomorrow. Remind everybody to go out and vote, and hopefully they'll support the town like most of the people have in the past, and we thank you very much. And at this point, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to
Before I
close.
make that, thank you to the finance committee for all the hard work this year. You guys, it was not an easy task, as most years aren't, but thank you for not only being as diverse as your group was, but for putting a real hard effort in getting this done.
Yeah, I will second that one. And also while we're at it, I'd like to thank, seeing as we have the planning board here, I'd like to thank them for all the hard work they did with the amendments that they put on for the warrant. That takes a lot of work.
And I second Ricky's motion for adjournment.
So all those in favor of adjourning, Vice Chairman Hipler,
Yep.
thumbs up from him. Sherry,
Yes.
hey, John Osborne,
Yes.
and John Van.
Good luck, Ricky and Sherry.
Thanks, John.
Thanks,
And
John.
with that, we'd like to thank everybody that came tonight, spoke, and we'll see you tomorrow at the polls, I hope. Night.